Ready? All right, we'll continue on with Ole Miss head coach Matt Luke. Coach will ask for a brief opening statement, then we'll open it up to Q&As. Again, if you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you for questions.
Really excited to be here. First SEC Media Day. This is an unbelievable venue. Just been involved with this conference as a player and a coach now for 18 years, and just excited to be part of this conference. And it's been a lot of fun to represent your alma mater at such a great event.
Go over here to the left on the back
Coach,
row.
how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I know the journey, but I'd love if you would tell everybody else in this room what it was like being an Ole Miss man, having your family be an Ole Miss family, being raised and rooted in that, and having the opportunity be thrust on you, and then getting the job permanently. Walk us through that, please, to this whole journey, because it's pretty magnificent, if you will.
No, it is. I think very few people in life have the opportunity to really live their dream. From the time I was very young, having my dad's helmet right above the TV, the Ole Miss helmet, and coming and wearing my brother's jersey in the Grove, watching him be the starting quarterback on the football team, and have the opportunity to run out on Vaught-Hemingway Stadium and be a player. And then when you become a coach, I think your next dream is to become the head coach and to have the ability for that dream to come true. And all the while be able to do that. My wife is from there in Oxford, and her family's been able to see it, and then my mom and dad are right there. So it's been obviously a great journey, but to be able to celebrate it with your family. My sister is a lawyer that graduated from Ole Miss, and she's only 2 hours away. Her son is with my son right now at baseball camp in Oxford, and then obviously having my brother on staff. It's been a very, very special time.
We'll go standing over here on the right side.
Two questions. First, about two kids from Alabama, Cavante Ruggs and Ja'Cory Hawkins. What did you like from them coming out of high school, and what do you like so far?
You know what? When I was talking to all the coaches at the Mississippi-Alabama All-Star game, they kept talking about how physical Cavante was, and I think he can play a multitude of different positions, whether it's outside linebacker, inside linebacker, rush, defensive end. He could even play. He's a hybrid guy. He can do a lot of different things. And then Ja'Cory has come in and done really, really well. He's a very athletic guy. We're looking for really good things out of him at corner.
And then what sold you on hiring John Sumrall to be the linebackers coach?
You know, that was an easy decision for me because we went way back. We have a lot of connections in the coaching circle, and I always had a lot of respect for him. He's been a coordinator, tremendous linebacker coach, and he did a really, really good job for us this spring.
We'll go down here on the front on the left.
Matt, before last season, were you approached by South Carolina about their offensive line job?
I was.
What made you decide to stay at Ole Miss?
Well, I think just the Kurt Roper was there at the time, was a very, very close friend of mine. We worked together for, 10 years, so we had some conversation. But, just the ability to – it's hard for me because of all the ties, and Ole Miss it's part of who I am, and just really thrilled. Obviously, my wife being from there, it was always be tough to leave.
We'll go to the camera position back here on the right side.
Coach, this being your first SEC Media Days, what's the overall experience been like so far? I know it's just began, but
Right.
What's it been like?
I've enjoyed it. I think that's been the when you ask everybody when you're coming to your first one, like, give me some advice. But I think the best advice that I got from the time that I was the interim was, hey, Matt, go be yourself and enjoy it. And this is really fun for me, and to represent your university in the best conference in college football, it's been a lot of fun. And this venue, I don't have anything to compare it to, but very, very impressive.
We'll go front row to the left.
Matt, the timing was obviously a little different for you, but how would you describe the challenge of being a first-year head coach and that entire experience?
I think the biggest thing for me was trying to draw from all the experiences I took from all the other great head coaches I've been around. A little bit from Philip Fulmer, some from David Cutcliffe, and just pulling from the best of everybody that you've been around, some from Tommy Tuberville from when I was a player, and then you put your own flavor with it. And I think even though that was my first year, again, I've been involved with this league for a long, long time and been preparing for this job. And then you couple that with the fact that my knowledge of Ole Miss and me being around there, I think it made a good fit in preparation.
We'll go standing back here on the right.
Hey, Coach Andy Lee, WTVA in Tupelo. The appeal will be the final chapter of this NCAA saga. How does it feel to come to a media days, enter a season, and just not worry about any of that, just talk football?
No, it's good. It's good. I'm really very pleased with the culture of this football team. I think finishing last year with a lot of really positive momentum, which springboarded into a top 25 recruiting class and a productive spring, just really focusing on continue to build that culture and work on being better. I think having continuity, offense and defensive coordinators is huge, and really just focusing on football has been a lot of fun.
Second row over here to the left.
Having Metcalf and Lodge, you guys were able to run A.J. Brown out of the slot a lot last year. Is that a function of having the other two, or is that more by design? And then also, just what makes A.J. Brown beyond that such a nightmare to cover?
Yeah, I think it's you always want to try to find a way to get your best players on the field together, and I think that was the best combination of those three guys. I think they are one of the most talented units in the country. They're all very different. They all bring something different to the table, but you can't double cover all of them. And I think that's when we really got good offensively last year, was when we were able to run the ball effectively and then take advantage of those one-on-one mismatches. But, A.J. is a special player. He's very driven. But you know what? It's fun to watch those guys because they push each other. They're very, very competitive, and they push each other. But the thing that I'm probably most proud of is when one of them catches a touchdown, the other two are right behind them, and they're very, very unselfish because they all want the ball. And for them to be unselfish, I think it shows that's a really special room.
Go to the camera position in the top right.
Hey, Matt, two questions. First, the past couple of months, having that interim tag removed, for you personally, how much more comfortable are you going into the season, experiencing a spring, going through a summer? Now you have a year almost under your belt of getting into this year.
You know what? I think the experience is awesome. I approached the interim job and I made decisions for the long term. So I went in there preparing and felt like I had been preparing for this job for my entire life. So I tried to make decisions for the long term. But having that year under your belt, certainly this job doesn't come with a handbook and the pressures and the rigors of a Southeastern Conference schedule. So having a year under my belt will definitely help, especially with time management. That was my biggest probably challenge, was how to manage your time between the offense, the defense, the media, the recruiting. But having a year under my belt will certainly help.
Second question, you've been on both sides of the ball in college football, especially in this conference. Just your opinion, what kind of impact do you believe sports gambling will have on college football? Is that something you've talked about at all or thought about?
I think we're just coming into that. I don't think anybody really knows, but I think the biggest thing for me, if it does come to fruition, is it's education. It's no different than social media or different challenges that they face, that the student athletes face. I think it's just education and educating those guys on it. Just gives you one more topic that you have to cover. But I think it may be a little bit too early to tell. But to me, education will be the key with our student athletes.
Go right here in the middle on the left side.
Hey,
Hey. All right.
what is Ole Miss attitude and mindset for this upcoming season?
You know what? I've been really, really pleased with coming out of last season with all the positive momentum and going into the spring. You could really see the culture continue to build. When we ended the season last year, you could really tell how far we had come from a culture standpoint. And I think what happened was, I think all the things that group of young men had been through, it could do one of two things. It could either push you apart or bring you together. And I really think that everything that they've been through really brought them together as a team. So I think with their mindset of playing for each other, they're getting up every morning right now at 6 o'clock, but 4 days a week at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they're putting in the work, and they're attacking this season. And I really like the way they're working and like the culture in our locker room right now.
We'll go to the camera position right here in the middle.
Coach, how much more explosive can your offense be now that Phil Longo's entering his second year with your program?
I think continuity is huge. I think having, not only on offense but defensively, coming back with the same system, I think they're all more comfortable with the offense, and then you can focus on the little things. You can focus on the techniques and maybe some of the different things that we can do off of some of our tendencies to change things up. So very excited. I thought Coach Longo did a phenomenal job, and we returned 8 starters off an offense that was arguably one of the best in the conference. So very excited, and Jordan's growth he'll only continue to get better. So I think I'm really excited about this year.
We'll go to right here in the middle and third row.
Matt, Jordan Tamu said he had no Division I offers coming out of high school. He had only a few to Division II. He goes to junior college. How did you find him? Who was the lead recruiter, and what led you to get him to Ole Miss?
Give some credit to Ben Agamoa. I think they had some mutual friends and acquaintances, maybe some family. But we did get him, we got him on a visit, and I think it came down to us in Indiana maybe, but knew he was a talented runner and a good thrower. But what you didn't know was his ability to lead the team. His first 7 drives in SEC play were scoring drives. And I think he earned the respect of the team very, very quickly, because I think, everybody puts their eyes on the quarterback, but he's a very quiet and unassuming kid. But his ability to be a leader and to go on a 2-minute drive on the road in the SEC and win a game, I think that showed a lot about who he was. Because I think those are the questions you don't ever know till the live bullets start flying. And I think he exceeded everybody's expectations last year.
We'll go right here on the back row.
Hey, Coach, we're from Baton Rouge, and we're at that LSU Ole Miss game last year, and Shea unfortunately got hurt, and when Jordan came in, everyone was like, wow, who's this guy?
Right.
Can you just talk about the fact that he stepped in immediately and played the way he did in that game, and that just kind of sprung him forward?
Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of credit has to go to Phil Longo, having your second guy ready. A lot of people, when they lose their starting quarterback, there's a big drop-off. But for us, it wasn't that. And I thought Jordan did a phenomenal job of leading the football team, but I think a lot of credit has to go to Phil Longo with having a guy ready. And there's going to be a similar challenge with a young quarterback in Matt Corral this year. But I do have a lot of confidence that Phil can have him ready to go.
Go to the back row on the left side over here.
Coach, I'm fascinated on how this redshirt rule is going to affect the game and how each coach is going to use it differently. We already have the acceleration of players getting to college and they're ready faster, right? How will you use it, and how do you think it'll most impact the game? Because you even think about postseason with guys going on to the NFL. Well, you get your young guys some playing time. How will you use it, and will there be any strategery, if you will?
Yeah, well, first, I really like the rule. I like the flexibility that it gives us, because I think when young men enter your program, they enter at different stages. Some of them are ready to go, and you can put them in the first 4 games to see if they're ready, or if some guy may develop later, it maybe take him a little bit longer to get the system, and you could play him maybe at the end of the season. So I really like the flexibility that it provides for us, and like the rule.
Go over here on the second row.
Hi, Coach.
Right side.
Hey. Tori Rees, Newswatch Ole Miss. I know you talked a little bit about the running back position. You talked about balance on your team. One thing that was kind of missing, I guess, from last year's team was kind of that tight end production of Evan Ingram. Can you talk a little bit about the tight end production of Knox and Cooley and how important they're going to be?
You know what? I think Dawson Knox is a weapon. He's a tremendous young man. And I think when he came back from his foot injury, I think that played a large part. Obviously, Jordan running the football, but having a tight end that can stretch the field vertically and also block in the box. If you go 4 wides to throw it and then bring in a tight end to run it, people know what you're going to do. But when you can have a guy like an Evan Ingram or like a Dawson Knox, I think it gives you. I think you're harder to prepare for. I think the defense doesn't know what's coming. And then to speak on Cooley. He had a phenomenal spring. Dawson was out a lot, so he got a bunch of reps and got a lot better. So I think there'll be some times where you'll see both of those guys on the field at the same time, and because they're both very athletic, both can do some things in the run game and catch the ball in the pass game. So excited about that position.
Go to the front row of the camera platform over here to the left.
Coach, if you count your interim tag being removed, there's 6 new coaches this year in the league. You laugh because it's a lot.
Right.
Interested to see, and I know some of them, like Jimbo, used to be at LSU, and like you said, you're no stranger to the conference, and Dan Mullen going back to Florida. So it's not like it's a complete stranger, but I'm just wondering from your take how you think it changes the landscape just this year with all those new coaches, and then what would you do differently looking back in your little short time last year as the interim coach?
Yeah, you know what? I think just on the SEC, it is very, very pressure packed, and just with the way that everything's going and the media coverage, everybody wants to win now. But that's also what makes the SEC very, very special. These college towns and their fans being so passionate about their schools, that's what makes the SEC unique. So I think when you know what you're getting into when you sign up and you embrace it. But again, I said before this head coaching job doesn't come with a handbook. So I think you learn a lot moving forward. But I really enjoyed building relationships with the players, especially on defense. And it's maybe not a regret, but maybe earlier in my career I wouldn't have stayed so much in the offensive line, but really get out and get to know guys, because that's the part of being a head coach that I maybe enjoyed the most, is building those relationships with not only just one position room, but maybe everybody on the whole team. I really enjoyed that part.
Go to the camera position, right back here, far right.
Coach, what have you seen from Jordan as he made the transition from a mostly unknown backup looking for reps to the leader of a SEC program?
You know what? I just, with the way that he finished the season, it made that transition so much easier. And now this is his team. He has a full spring, a full summer, a full offseason to develop that rapport with not only the receivers, but also to be the leader of that offense. And I think, obviously, coming back in the same offense, second year under Coach Longo's offense, I think he'll only get better.
Go to the front row over here on the left.
Matt, what kind of growth have you seen out of DeMarcus Lodge and Greg Little over the last couple of years, and what do you expect out of them this year?
Have huge expectations for those. Both those guys are projected NFL players, and really, it's been fun to watch those guys grow. Greg, to speak on Greg, just to see him, to see the confidence he has now that he's been through 2 seasons. He's played against first-round draft picks. He knows exactly what to expect. And, he's one of the premier offensive linemen in this country, and really excited. And to see him grow as a leader. And then with DeMarcus Lodge, same thing, to see him grow as a freshman. Seems like he's been around for a long, long time. But it's been fun for me to watch the lineage of those receivers, starting with Dante Moncrief and Laquan Treadwell and Adebayo and Cody Core, and then their work ethic gets passed to A.J. Brown and D.K. Metcalf and DeMarcus Lodge. It's just fun to see that work ethic come to fruition, and they'll pass it down to the next group of freshmen. So I think that's a really cool thing. But DeMarcus Lodge, I'm expecting him to have a phenomenal year.
Go to the front row of the camera position over to the right.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good.
And this is not a trick question. I'm just going to say that right now, but you just heard the stat about the number of new coaches in the league, getting to know those new guys. When you were 16 years old, what was your dream car?
Dream car. I probably just wanted a car. It was the Honda Accord that I drove first, probably. But dream car, I don't know, maybe Ford F-150, maybe.
We'll go over here to the left on the end.
Yeah, Matt, in this day and age, how did Jordan go under-recruited like he did?
You know what? I think being at the way that recruiting speeds up, he was hurt a lot as a freshman in junior college. So I think he was a little bit of an unknown, had a really good second year in junior college, but I think him being maybe hurt that first year, I think it was maybe a little bit of an unknown. But I'm glad it worked out that way for us.
Go back here to the camera position on the right side.
Coach, beginning your career at Ole Miss as a grad assistant, you kind of touched on the journey earlier. Could you have ever imagined in your wildest dreams that you would be the head coach of this football team at that point in time?
You know what? I think when my last game, I played for Tommy Tuberville 4 years. Coach Cutcliffe coached my last game, and I was going to go into. I was had a business degree and was going to go into business, and Coach Cutcliffe taught me in and said, hey, man, why don't you come back and work as a student assistant next year? And ever since then, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I left and went to Murray State for a short time, but coming back when Coach Cutcliffe hired me back to Ole Miss, I always knew and tried to learn as much as I could and soak in as much as I could from the people I was around to prepare to one day be a head coach, and then I think it's a bonus when it's at Ole Miss because of obviously my family history.
We'll go over here to the right on the second row.
Freddie Roach is your linebackers coach. It's a guy that I'm very familiar with. Talk about him, and he's got a couple guys who he's going to be having to work with a little bit more extensively this year. Just talk about the job that he's done since he's been at Ole Miss.
Yeah, so Freddie coaches our defensive line. He is a tremendous technician, but the thing he does really, really well is he has great relationships with his players. His players trust him. They know that he cares about them, and I think that's a great thing for a coach to have, because if a player knows that you care about him and he's a good guy, he can push you very, very hard. And I think that's what's really special about Freddie. Is not only is he a great technician, but he's also a guy that's been there and done it, and the players know when he talks to them that he's helping them.
Got time for just a couple more. If you'll raise your hand, we'll get a microphone to you. Anything else for Coach? All right, thank you. Oh, one more over here on the left.
Yeah.
Matt, we hear coaches talk about eliminating the external noise and stuff. You don't have to worry about, hey guys, don't look at bowl projections this year. Don't look at playoff rankings. Obviously you want to compete for championships, but in a way, does it make it easier to keep your guys focused on the short-term goals hey, beat Texas Tech, then we'll measure it, and then here's your goal for 7 days from now.
I don't know if it makes it any easier, but I think you all have unique challenges with social media, and they're all on their phones. So we all have those unique challenges. But I think that the teams that are good are the teams that continue to improve over the course of the season, that can stay focused on the task at hand. And, I said before, really like the culture of this football team and the way this team has come together.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, guys.